Colts at Texans week 9, and I can't believe we're already kind of halfway point through the season, man. That's crazy. The season's been going by real fast. Anyways, this matchup. Their offensive line versus our defensive line. Our defensive line, I feel like, is going to be able to completely dominate their offensive line. They have one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. But I'm just talking about running wise. Our defensive line is going to shut down the Colts running game, which is pretty much not really existent, if we're being completely honest. Pass rushing wise, I'm not too sure, man, because all season long we've played a lot of bad offensive lines. For example, the Jaguars, the Patriots, the Seahawks, and the Chiefs. And our defensive line didn't do anything in either. They were pretty much non-existent. No sacks, no pressures, like barely any QB hits. So I highly doubt we're going to be able to put much pressure on Jacoby Brissett. But I don't think that's really going to matter, because Jacoby Brissett is not a good quarterback. I think our defensive line completely dominates their offensive line. Again, our defense needs to contain the quarterback, because Jacoby Brissett's also a mobile quarterback. And as you guys already know, Alex Smith, Marcus Mariota, the terrible Kevin Hogan, and Russell Wilson have been able to shred this defense apart by extending plays. Well, not really shred them apart, but make it hard for them. Our secondary is already bad as it is. We don't need the front seven letting the quarterbacks have way more time. And I think part of the reason that the secondary has struggled this season is because the front seven can't get enough pressure. They can't get to the quarterback fast enough. And the defense is just out there in an island, the secondary. We can't have that. Mike Vrabel needs to do a better job of sending in blitzes, but to the point where our corners and safeties aren't out there on an island one-on-one. We just can't have that. It's pretty obvious, but time and time again, Mike Vrabel keeps on doing it for some reason. Anyways, their passing game versus our secondary. As bad as our secondary is, guys, I completely expect our secondary to limit the Colts, because the Colts don't have anyone. Literally, T.Y. Hilton's the only one they have, and Jonathan Joseph has him covered. Joseph seems to be the only one that has been consistently playing good this season, aside from, I want to say it was like a 40-yard pass to Tyreek Hill in week 5. That was the only really terrible thing I remember about Joseph doing all season. Joseph has had a solid season. Anyone who says he hasn't is just lying to themselves, because a lot of people just want to say Joseph sucks because he's like 33. Look at Terrence Newman up there in Minnesota, 38 and still balling out. Yes, players getting older and regressing is a thing, but some players regress faster than others. Some players it takes a little longer to get there. And Joseph, he's regressed a little bit, but not to the point where he's bad. I expect Joseph to limit T.Y. Hilton, and I completely expect the other receivers to be non-existent as well, because they're just not good. Jack Doyle, I don't see him being a problem either. He's not that big of a threat. Yes, he did have 12 receptions for 120 yards and a touchdown last week, but that's because the Bengals don't have anyone. The Texans have Zach Cunningham that can probably cover him. and he has some drop issues. So now our offense versus their defense. Our offensive line versus their defensive line. As bad as our offensive line is, their defensive line is terrible. I expect our offensive line to, have an easy game this week. I expect the running game to get going pretty easily, and their secondary versus our receivers, man. You guys saw what Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, and Will Fuller did to the Seahawks up in Seattle. 38 points, about 150 yards combined between Will Fuller and DeAndre Hopkins, 3 touchdowns. The Colts have arguably the worst secondary in the NFL. Probably only one worse is Tennessee's. I completely expect the Texans receivers and the passing game to shred these Colts. They're going to slice them apart, and it's just going to be an ugly game for the Colts. Special teams, the Colts aren't really dangerous on special teams. I completely expect our special teams to, not fuck up. Coaching, even though we have Mike Vrabel over there trying really, really hard to, ruin the season, I still think our coaching staff is way beyond better than the Colts, whatever they have. Chuck Pagano's a terrible head coach. Bill O'Brien is way better. Our coaching staff is way better. The Colts suck at developing players. They're just an all-around mess over there in Indy. So, the keys to the game is, don't let any big plays happen secondary. And Deshaun Watson, don't turn the ball over. I'm pretty sure you've thrown a pick in every single game besides the Chiefs game. Gotta work on that. Yes, I understand you're a rookie, but protect the ball. And defensive front, for the 5th time probably in a row I've said this, keep the quarterback contained. Do not let him get outside the pocket. Don't let him extend plays. You guys already know your secondary sucks. Stop allowing quarterbacks to expose them even further. So, those are the keys to a win for the Texans. And the final score, I'm going with 48-17 Texans. That's right. The Texans come back pissed off about that game they dropped in Seattle that they should have won, and they completely embarrass the pitiful Colts. The same exact scenario that happened with New England and then playing the terrible Titans afterwards is the exact same thing I expect to happen this time. And I've spoken to a few Clemson fans, and one thing most of them have mentioned to me is Deshaun Watson loves to embarrass his rivals. Just loves it. And I think it's going to happen. The Colts just do not match up well against us. Jacoby Brissett's a terrible quarterback. They have no offensive line, no receivers. They have no running game to speak of. They have the worst defense in the NFL. And you saw what Deshaun Watson just went up to go do up there in Seattle against arguably the best defense in the NFL. Yeah. These Colts, man, they're 2-14 type of bad, man. These Colts are really, really bad. I expect our Texans to climb back to 500 for the 4th time this season. Yep, we've been 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, and now we're about to be 4-4 with another crazy Deshaun Watson game against one of the worst defenses in the NFL. So with that being said, guys, make sure to comment down below what you guys think about this game, the result of it, and make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.